So now we're going to launch the test drive, and here's where the magic really happens. Think about the fact that within 1 to 2 minutes, you can really be looking at a full version of the software in your web browser. The first step is to go through and do a browser check. Let's make sure that you have a good network connection, that you have the proper plugins in your browser. And once we do that, you click here to start, and we're going to go through the process of actually loading that software in your browser. And it'll only take a minute, maybe a minute and a half, depending on the internet connection. But compare that investment to getting on a plane and doing a presentation to a customer in person, or scheduling one-on-one time with every client that you have. Or, from the customer's perspective, a week to get a CD, or maybe an hour or two to download the file. That 1 or 2 minutes to load the software seems rather reasonable. So again, as we're loading up, you'll notice that we have the ACT logo up here. We have these different call to action buttons, which will bring us to the Buy Now page on the ACT.com website, the Contact Us page, or the home page of the website. So when this loads up, we actually have sample data in there. You can go through, and if you've used ACT before, you can look at different contacts, you can look at opportunity reports, all sorts of fun contact management stuff that in business is really important for sales and for marketing. So you see some of this here. Now if I bring you back to where we started, within about 3 minutes, your customer has gone from your website to your real software in a web browser and can experience the full value of what you have to offer. And that's really what I wanted to show you today, and we'll hand that back over to Peter, and he can explain how you can wrap this up, peel back the layers, and really get to your prospect's interests.
Terrific job. And that took, I think, real time, that took about 5 minutes, and that is the perfect length for that portion of the demonstration. So what Jason did is accomplish really two things. He both illustrated the concept of the illustration. That's what the dashboard is, that shows the end results of a raft of prospects who have taken a test drive for that particular software package. And then he showed in a handful of steps the direct path from a logical starting point to getting to that end desired result. That's exactly what we were trying to accomplish. Now, in a typical face-to-face or delivered demo, what happens next is people begin to ask questions. They say, well, gee, let's go back to our marketing manager example with Microsoft Word. Can I change some of the fonts? Can I change the formatting? This is where we now begin to peel back the layers in accord with the customer's depth and level of interest. And this is where we want the customer to feel that the demo is a conversation as opposed to a presentation. So we're peeling back the layers in accord with what they're asking to see, or in accord with the kinds of things we know that they might be interested in seeing, but generally raised in the form of a question as opposed to the traditional, and there's another really cool thing I want to show you. So, peeling back the layers. Now, another concept I'd like to introduce, since we have a couple of quick minutes, is, well, let me ask it as a rhetorical question here. What can we learn from newspapers? Well, newspapers have been presenting information for several hundreds of years, and they've learned some very interesting things about how to do it. So let's see. The folks in the audience, in fact, gentlemen in the audience, when you receive a newspaper in the morning, or the afternoon, what section do you turn to first? Type it in. Aha, thank you, Tom. Sports. You are so consistent, maybe predictable. David said business. Thank you very much. Let's assume that we now turn to the sports section. Well, let's suggest that we have the sports section here that's sitting in front of us. Note that the newspaper has already organized the information in a hierarchy of consumable components that can be introduced, explored as deeply as you wish, and then exited to go to the next one. Now, how do you choose which article you want to read? What do? Well, you look at the pictures and you read the headlines. Those are like illustrations. When you find an article that you're interested in, do you read the entire article? Well, most people don't. What they typically do is they read the first 1 or 2 paragraphs, because those 1 or 2 paragraphs in a well-written paper summarize the whole balance of the article. That is like a do-it pathway in the software demos that we're suggesting. If they're really interested in more detail, they may dive a little bit further, Newspapers know that most readers for most articles never turn to where it says, or turn beyond where it says, please turn to page blank. So what can we learn from newspapers? To organize the demo in a similar construct in consumable components that can be introduced, entered, and explored as deeply or shallowly as the prospect is interested in, and then to return back up to the next topic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin the process of wrapping up what we've done so far. So, technical preparation, we're going to complete qualification so that what we want to be able to demo, we understand what they're looking for. We're going to coordinate infrastructure so that we can show what they're interested in seeing. And then we are going to create and deliver the components of the demonstration itself. So, to summarize this portion of the webinar, what have we accomplished so far? We set the stage way back about 30 minutes ago. We invested some time to understand our customer's perspective. What are they looking for out of this process? We then introduced a new concept for turning a demonstration upside down. We looked at what do we need from our sales counterparts, and then how do we take that information and put it into a demo that really does get the job done. So, ladies and gentlemen, because adults learn by repetition, let me summarize the ideas here. Review the customer's situation, make sure that your understanding is consistent with theirs, and then present an illustration of the solution right up front so they can say, oh, maybe these guys can help me solve my problems. Now, they ask, how did you do that? Show them in how many mouse clicks? As few as possible, then peel back the layers in accord with their depth and level of interest, manage questions along the way, and summarize so our customer retains the key points we want them to remember. And along those same lines, ladies and gentlemen, if you'll type into your Q&A dialog box, if there was one and only one idea that I urged you to retain from this session, what was it? Type it in. I'm not going to go forward until somebody types it in. There you go. Do the last thing first. Flip the demo. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I used in this example during the webinar here the content-free, buzzword-compliant vocabulary list example article. If you'd like a copy of this whimsical yet highly valuable article, send me an email and I'd be happy to send it to you. Now, this summarizes my portion, but Jason has he has some success stories that I think is very interesting for you to hear about. So let me thank you for your time investment with me today and pass things back over to Jason.
Great, thank you very much. So, as Peter mentioned, we have examples of what happens when you follow the advice of really doing a great demo, doing the last thing first, peeling back the layers, really finding out who your clients are. Not only doing that, but delivering it through such a method that makes such easy access for your potential customers. One of the Runaware clients, a major accounting software client, provided some numbers to us for our use and really has seen some great impact in the last 10 months. In using the lead capture portion of TestDrive, they've increased their qualified leads by 57% during the same period last year. Not only that, but they've seen a 22% increase in their trials during 2007. And this has led to a much fatter pipeline for them and a lot more qualified customers. And as I've recently heard, not only that, because the leads come in real time to the sales force, these salespeople are calling that lead while they're still in the demo and closing that sale in one call. And this is the first time they've been able to do that and haven't been able to accomplish that with any other type of demo. When we initially started the program with this client, they had their three options: the download, the CD, and the test drive. And originally, test drive made up about 30% of total trials. And as of now, the test drives have come up to about 45 to 50% of total trials, showing that as people find that there's a different solution, they're interested in that time savings and that instant access. They've also increased their conversion rates. And that's been really the all-important answer, is what does it do for the bottom line? So we all know that really giving great demos and doing it in a manner that really satisfies your customers' needs is really the answer for increasing your bottom line, understanding your client better, and really delivering a great demo and a great product in the end. That's really the end of the webinar presentation. I'll hand it over to Christina, and she will do the closing statements and handle any questions.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Jason. That was great.